Hi everybody, it's Brody from Brody's Garage. This is episode 21. Today is January 26th. I am in the garage currently. It's the end of my day, but I'd like to tell you about some things that I got done. First, let's talk about the garage itself. One of the things that was sorely lacking in the garage, there was just no places for power. We had like 2 outlets in the entire garage. So I hired a guy from Prentice Electric to come on out and install some more outlets. This is actually a twin 20 amp circuit right there, so I can power my little air compressor. I can plug the welder in there, which I'm often down in the front of the car here welding. I also had him install, come with me this way, an outlet back here behind the wall there so that I could power all of my little battery charger things. This stuff was constantly scattered on the floor, batteries, just in disarray. Finally have everything in a nice place. I bought this little rack on Amazon, and all my little battery chargers are charging away right now. Isn't it a pretty sight? Okay, so this is the inside of the car. Under the dash, this is the firewall where the original heater blower used to stick out through, and I welded that plate in. Now this is the back side, and it's not too pretty, and I am going to clean it up, but what I'm doing today is I'm getting ready to try to mount my air conditioning evaporator unit under the dash. So we've got a bracket here, and basically this bracket bolts to the back side of that, and I put the entire unit up under the dash. I marked off the holes where the bracket needs to go, but instead of running bolts through the firewall that stick out into the engine compartment, I'm going to weld on bolts this way so that they don't show on the engine side, and let's see how it goes. Okay, I got my first bolt tack welded in there. It's a little tricky. I had to use a pair of vice grips and clamp it onto the bolt and kind of hold it up against there while I tacked it. Anyway, it's tacked. Let's continue. Okay, well, I got 3 bolts welded up to the firewall. 1, 2, and 3. I didn't do this corner because it's quite a bit further away from the firewall there, and I felt like 3 was going to be enough. So it's pretty solid. Now let's put the evaporator core up in there and see if it works. Well, I got the evaporator unit installed under the dash, at least temporarily. I've got 3 bolts welded to the firewall. There's 1 down there, and there's 2 up there, and I welded them to the inside. That way they're not sticking out through the lovely engine compartment. Now, there are a couple of issues. If you recall, in one of my early episodes, as I was installing the Detroit Speed wiper assembly under the dash there, it specifically states if you are using a Gen 4 vintage air unit, which is what this is, you're going to have to cut off and seal off these top 2 ports of the AC unit. Now, for sure, it looks like the one is almost touching right now, and as that arm makes its travel, it's going to hit. I don't know for sure if this one closest to me is going to have to be cut off, but I guess we'll find out when we put that thing through its cycle. The other issue is I bought this very slick looking 4-way bulkhead connector for the heater and AC lines to go through the firewall. Looks fantastic. However, if you get up in there, you're going to see that the heater, which I'll put my finger on it there, that one little heater nipple is sticking out there, and there's one, of course, right below it, and there's an AC line here. Those lines are going to have to come over here because the only feasible place to really put this would be somewhere up in there. Those lines would have to make a very sharp, not even a 90, but more like a question mark. They'd have to come out and then bend back 90 to get into that bulkhead connector. So I don't know if that's practical. The other thing is, adding this, while it looks very slick, would create potential for more leaks because now you've got a fitting here and a fitting on this side, whereas if you just ran a hose through, you just have a solid hose connection going all the way through the firewall. So maybe what I'll do is I'll cut 4 holes and I'll put some rubber grommets in there and just get some molded heater hose with a 90 in it and take it out through. What do you guys think about that? Let's go take a look on the outside. Okay, now here's the passenger side wheel well. And using this welded up bolt hole as a reference point, that would place this bulkhead connector in there, which does look nice and all. I'm still a little undecided as to whether I'm going to use this. Either way, the hoses are going to have to make their entrance or their exit rather, through this firewall area somehow. And they'll be either tied up with clamps, or maybe I'll build a little aluminum tray to sort of shield them from the road debris, and then bring the hoses over here and down and then into the engine compartment. Speaking of the engine compartment, it looks like my welded bolts made some pretty good penetration all the way through, so now I can finish doing my metal prep here and put my all metal filler in on all these spots that I welded up, and I'll have a nice, smooth, clean firewall. Hi. So I'm here inside the car, and just a few moments ago I was in there inside the trunk. Why? Because I'm stupid, that's why. I climbed in the trunk to weld my trunk hinge brackets back into place after removing them quite some time ago. And the reason for all of that, if you recall, was because when I got the car, the trunk hinge on the driver's side was not bolted to the deck lid. And I thought, gee, that's peculiar. So I bolted it up there, tried to close the deck lid, and the deck lid was binding on this side. After some kind of eyeballing, it seemed to me that the hinges were welded on a little crooked and the geometry was off. So I decided to just cut them off top and bottom. And what I did is I put my deck lid on top of the car with the weather strip in place, tried to align it as best as I can, taped it in place, crawled inside the trunk, and then bolted the hinges up to the bottom side of the deck lid so that they were flush and that they were not in any kind of a bind. And then trying to keep everything else sort of hanging straight up and down and not in any sort of a bind, I tack welded the hinges into place onto the wheel tubs and the underside of the trunk filler panel. And now I'm going to climb out of the car and pray to God that my trunk is still in alignment and that it opens and closes without binding. Folks, I gotta tell you, I am so happy right now. I have a huge win for the Broadman. After much putting this off and debate, I decided to attack the deck lid today. I got it welded in there. And look at this. Would you just look at that? My deck lid opens, and there are billet aluminum hinges that don't hit against anything. And I welded in, after tacking them in, I welded everything back in. And I'm gonna grind those things down and get it all looking pretty. And I'm just so stoked. For the first time since owning the car, the deck lid is on the car, bolted on, and it freaking opens and closes. Sweet. Would you just look at it? One thing I realized as I was crawling underneath the car, it would be nice to have, and I think somebody suggested it on one of my earlier episodes, a fuel access door here in the trunk that lifts up. That way I can gain access to my fuel pump, which drops in the top of the tank. There's also a sending unit over there. I took some crude measurements underneath there, and it looks to me like the cutout, notched out area in the top of the tank is about 13 inches by 9 deep. But before I go cutting into this, I went ahead and I ordered from Speedway Motors online a pre-made kit. It's an aluminum frame with a panel that hinges up. So we'll see what that looks like when it gets here, and I'll trace out my template, cut that out, and then I'll have a nice little place there to plumb my fittings for my tank. And in the event that the pump ever goes bad, boom, just peel the carpet back and peel that up and take it right out. Okay, the gas filler neck is currently installed temporarily. I did manage to get it in there, but I gotta tell you, it is not a good fit. First and foremost, the hose that comes supplied with the RideTech filler neck is a little bit too big for the filler neck. It's actually loose on this end up here. I'm sure with a clamp I could tighten it down, but I'm not really crazy about that. Also, the way you cut off the filler neck, at least the way they show it in their instructions, shows me cutting it off right there where I did, and it puts a pretty severe angle between the filler neck and the filler, well, excuse me, this inlet and the filler neck. They're at quite a bit of an angle, and so this straight piece of hose really needs to be bent a bit. Maybe if I leave it out in the sun and heat it up really good and soften it up and then kink it and let it kind of form, it'll kind of make that bend, but it's currently under quite a bit of tension. Also, it seems as though I've got clearance here with my tire, but that remains to be seen once I get a full load on the car, all the weight on the car, and of course the suspension travel up and down. I gotta make sure that this doesn't hit. Ultimately, I may end up rebending this or getting some mandrel bent pieces and fabricating my own. I'd like this to kind of tuck a little bit closer to the wheel well back here so that it's away from the tire. But for right now, I'm going to leave it and move on to other things. For the air-to-water intercooler ice tank here back in the trunk, I've got to make some decisions here of what I want to do with this. I bought some fittings and kind of temporarily installed them just to see how much space I needed for all the hose and plumbing. And as you can see, the fittings themselves take up quite a bit of space. I've got to decide now if I want to notch the floor pan here to get this whole thing to set down a little bit lower and maybe build, you know, sort of a boxed in tray. If I do that, that's going to bring this down a little bit lower here, which means I would be going into my frame rail somewhat. So I'm not sure that I want to do that. I might though. I might just notch out this little corner here so that the front end sits down level. Another thing that I wanted to do with this area back here, and of course this is temporary, this is for the rotisserie mount, but I'm planning on running a full 3-inch exhaust over the axle. And one cool thing about the Rix tanks, they notched out and clearanced the forward corners of the gas tank here just for that very reason, so that I could bring a 3-inch pipe back here and out the back. Now, I really want to keep this car very streetable and very quiet without sacrificing performance or exhaust flow. So my plan right now is to run 4 straight through MagnaFlow mufflers. 2 of them will be in the pockets there in front of the rear axle. And once I bring the pipe back here, I might see if I can tuck a resonator of some sort right back in here, and possibly bring the exhaust out the back. And my plan is to build a rectangular exhaust tip that is contoured to fit inside the bumper. So the bumper itself will have to be notched out. And I'm thinking like a 2-inch tall by maybe 6-inch wide rectangular tip. I also put my first skim coat of all metal filler on the firewall there. You can see all the areas that I've filled in holes and things and welded up, trying to smooth those out. They'll get a couple more coats, get blocked down, and then we'll put the heavy urethane primer on it, and it'll look slick as a, well, insert your own joke. And so with that, my friends, I'm going to bid you all a farewell until the next episode. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And I'm feeling really good about things. Some days are kind of depressing and huge setbacks, and then there's days like today. One more look before we call it a night. All right. Good night, everybody.